Good evening. Welcome to UNC. You're here with Benjamin Black. It has only been 3 days since the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. The authorities have yet to apprehend John Wilkes Booth, the American actor and Confederate supporter who murdered President Lincoln in cold blood at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. America is still in shock while Andrew Johnson, the former vice president, has been sworn into office. Today on UNC, we have a special guest, military officer and eyewitness of the assassination, Henry Rathbone. I will now be sending it over to Todd Stewart, who will be speaking with Mr. Rathbone about his experience during the horrific tragedy.
Thank you, Benjamin. Now, Mr. Rathbone, how do you know Abraham Lincoln?
President Lincoln, he was a good man. I served under him during the Civil War. We had met on the battlefield when I was a military officer, before I was a major. We had shared a connection, and then we had become friends. He was always very inspiring.
Can you recall what you saw during the event?
Can I recall? I could never forget. What started out as a celebration quickly turned into the most horrific nightmare that I will never wake up from. I remember my fiancée, Clara, and I had met Abraham Lincoln and his wife, and we rode to the theater together. That evening, we were going to watch the play Our American Cousin. By the time we arrived there, it had already begun. I was sitting next to my fiancée, the seat farthest from the door, and everything was going smoothly. The crowd was laughing, and then just silence. I saw the president slump forward in his seat. I immediately rose from where I was seated, and I saw John Wilkes Booth standing in gun smoke behind the president. I sprung into action in an attempt to apprehend Booth. We got into a scuffle, and that's when I felt a stinging pain in my left shoulder. He had pulled a dagger on me, and I fell back, my vision hazed from the wound. I tried to grab him, but he successfully jumped onto the stage. He had escaped. I had failed him.
I wouldn't say that it was your fault. It was completely unexpected. If you don't mind me asking, how are you feeling?
I was enraged and confused when it had happened. It's as if my body had been taken over by some force, and I was acting without thinking. I don't remember much of what happened after I was wounded, but I remember shouting as loud as I could, "Stop that man! Stop that man!" I remember a wave of guilt swarming over me as I lay there, unable to do anything and bleeding out.
Why do you think he got assassinated?
I could have stopped him. Why wasn't I quick enough? I'm sorry, I can't do this.
Apologies for the unexpected interruption. Back to you, Benjamin Black.
Yeah, bro.
She was nice, bro.
Oh, she'll be back on.
Thank you, Todd. I could not imagine being Mr. Rathbone in that situation. We will now cut to a commercial break.
This is an automated message. A special broadcast will now begin. We will have a panel featuring some guest speakers on the topic of Abraham Lincoln.